From dating to driving, supporting teen independence doesn't mean stepping back for parents. It actually means stepping up in new ways.
New ways, that's the key. There are ways you can help young adults ease into this new age of maturity without losing your sanity along the way. Brea Schmidt of the Thinking Branch and Latoya Wilson from Motherhood Redefined are here to weigh in. I am just entering this. I feel like I'm on the precipice of the greatest change in life ever. I remember this so well, but being there as the adult figure in it is much different now that I have to parent it.
And less fun.
And less fun.
I know.
Yes.
I know.
So we want to be there for our kids, but it does take this new approach, I think. So how do we approach this?
I think it's about strategic presence. So it's not about hovering, but it's also not about letting go of the reins completely. It's a song and dance. It's a little bit of a back and forth and letting them know that you're there to encourage their autonomy, but you're also there to help them whenever they fail.
Yes.
Absolutely. And how do we draw those lines, Brea? Because I know that in your family, everyone's kind of at a different phase as well. Some are entering, some you still kind of have to keep back.
Yeah.
How do you keep those boundaries steady?
Yeah, and it's different personalities too.
Sure.
But I think it's just like what she said. It's really learning your kid. And I have 3 different kids who respond to things differently, but I know for me it's all about getting into their world. What are they interested in? And trying to be present in that. And so, you know, if my son is playing video games, I'll go into his room and I'll use that time to talk to him. So even though he's, you know, playing his video games, it still gives me an opportunity to be in a space that's comfortable for him. And maybe that's when I bring up something that I want to talk to him about. Or
I'm sure he loves that.
He does.
It's interesting because you know, when your kids are little, it's all about keeping them safe. You know, you want them to be happy, but safety is the biggest thing. Oh, you can't get close to this. That's going to hurt you. We can't do this because you're going to fall. It becomes so much different when they get older because you have to parent and be part of those conversations, but they're also trying to push the boundaries. And you're trying to think, how is that boundary going to help them later in life? Is this okay for them to push back? When do I need to step in? It gets very complicated and you have to make these decisions very quickly.
Yeah, I think that's why it's important to know your child.
Yeah.
And then also know yourself. So boundaries are just there as guidelines, and so you have to incorporate what your child needs and what you need into it, and not just setting it as a rule.
Absolutely. Now, this is going to be my biggest problem. I'm actually forecasting it for myself. I am going to want to handle every single little problem. Someone's being mean to him or her, I will want to obviously intervene.
Give me their parents' number.
I immediately show, and I know that it's going to be a song and dance of give them space, but also stay over here. What would be your biggest piece of advice for people who are going through it or about to go through it? How do you give them that space and allow them to be?
I've had to say, what is the advice to anybody? I would love some. I'm still learning, but I think I always have to ask myself, is this about me or is this about them? Like, am I doing this because it makes me feel better to be in control, or am I doing this truly because they need me to step in? And the answer is different every time. But I think that to your point, it's knowing yourself. I can tell sometimes when I just want to have control. So I'm just jumping in, and I have to step back and sometimes have to apologize to my child for that. But there's other times where I say, no, this is a scenario where they need an adult to step in and help them, or at least help walk them through it.
Well, it is. It's hard because you want them. We know that there's growth in being uncomfortable, and that can be being uncomfortable in our feelings of being sad or angry or happy or whatever it might be. There's growth in that. We kind of have to let our kids experience it. What I'm finding is when it is the closed door and they're too quiet, and you start to think, okay, what would I want? Would I want that alone time, or does she need someone to talk to? And knowing that difference, again, it goes back to knowing your kid, but also respecting their boundaries that they're setting up.
I think it's important to open that lines of communication,
Right.
right? So if you see that there's an opportunity for you to ask or to gain more knowledge about your child, you ask.
Yeah.
And so you say, do you want me to step in and help, or is this something that you want to figure out on your own? So it doesn't have to be just either or, it can be an and.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was blessed when I was growing up with a mom that always said, if you come to me about it, it will never be a problem. But if I find out later, then and it's a deeper problem that I can't get you out of, then unfortunately I can't step in. How do you? I don't want to be the cool mom. I don't want to be their friend all the time. But how do you also let them know that you did this too? They're not reinventing the wheel.
Yeah.
My kids call me out all the time. They're like, Mom, when they can tell when there's a life lesson coming, they're like, Mom, are you about to tell me a story about when you were younger and you did this? Like they have officially called me out on it. But it does. I do. I tell them stories, and there are some stories I'm like, I can't believe that I just told them that this happened. But I think it's both for them to say, okay, this is normal that I'm experiencing this, but also, okay, maybe my mom can talk to me, a little bit about it. But yeah, it's all hard. I think that's the point of it. Is we were just talking before we came on. It's all about reflecting after each interaction. It's learning your kid and learning what worked and what didn't. And I think that's the point. If you're a parent who cares that you're getting it right, you're doing something right.
You're doing something right.
And we're
Good
human
conversation.
too.
Yep.
I'm still struggling.
Yeah,
We all are.
Thank you.
Together. We're not done with our parent panel just yet. After the break, we're shifting the focus to friendships and parenting styles. Can different approaches to raising kids put a strain on even the closest relationships? Find out next.
Parenting looks different for everyone, but what happens when your friend's style clashes with your own? It can create tension or possibly even break a friendship.
Yeah, Brea and Latoya are back with us for another parent panel conversation. Let's talk about your friends and their parenting style. And when it's something that you don't agree with, where do you draw the line? If it's just out of control.
I think I draw the line whenever it starts to compromise my boundaries or my values.
Yeah.
I think everything is worth having a conversation about, but I absolutely draw the line whenever it's something that it's crossing my boundaries or something of my belief system.
Well, because isn't that so true that the way we parent is so closely tied to who we are and who we want our kids to be, so closely tied to our own beliefs. So it kind of almost feels like not an attack on our beliefs, but that it's crossing that line.
Yeah, and I always have to ask myself, am I judging this person, or to your point, is this something that is affecting me because it is crossing my boundary? It's impacting my kids, it's impacting our friendship as well. And so I think it's about checking yourself, say, am I just judging them for the way they're doing it because it's different from mine?
Right.
Or is this something where I really have to think about, is this something that is healthy for all of us to be around, both my kids and me as a friend?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I have a problem with this because even when it's not a friend of mine and I'm at the grocery store, I know you guys have been here, and you see someone parenting their kid, and usually it's in a harsh way. I have to hold myself back from saying something. Matter of fact, I have said something before.
He's like, I don't hold back.
And I mean, it didn't turn out so well, but I do think that there is a point where you kind of have to step in and say something, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think well, it depends. For me, I have been around scenarios where it's like, do you step in or do you not? I think for all of us, safety of kids is the most important thing, right? But I think that's always the question, is what is right? And I don't know what is,
I don't know.
We were talking about control before.
Yes.
Are we doing things for our kids because we want the control, or is it because we're really trying to help them and get in the way of that? I wonder if some of this comes back to that for our own kids, and we want to control what environment they are in. I think how often we want our house to be the hangout house. We want them because we know what's happening, what they're eating, what they're doing, if they need something. So there's this control factor of making sure they're in a safe environment too, and not knowing how other people are parenting all the time.
Yeah. I think it's important to recognize if you're parenting from a place of fear too.
Yes, which
Because-
is probably what I was just saying.
Because Mikey, when I'm thinking about what you were saying about if you're in the grocery store and you see somebody parenting what you would consider harshly, you have to also take a step back and think, am I parenting from a place of fear for myself?
Right.
Is there something that maybe I experienced that's making me view this as harsh?
Right.
Because we don't know the full story.
Yeah.
And sometimes we can step in and overstep our boundaries without knowing the full context of what that parent was coming from.
Which probably happened.
It's always a balance. It's a balance of judgment and what's socially acceptable. I don't know, but it is. It's hard to manage.
Well, I will say, for me, especially as a new parent, I do learn a lot, let's say from Heather or from Kelly, because I haven't had those experiences yet. So do you feel that parents can often learn something from another parent and just be open to learning? I think that's...
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
All the time. You never stop learning. You never stop making mistakes. So you're learning from yourself as well as you're learning from the people who you interact with.
Yeah.
And I think, I've learned in parenting to surround myself with people that we can have open conversations. I mean, some of my closest friends, we parent very differently, and sometimes I just create conversation about it. It's like, what's your choice on why you do that? And here's why I do mine. Yeah. And just to understand, and it doesn't mean it's going to change how I do things, but I think it's good for all of us to understand that everyone was raised differently.
Right.
Everyone has different experiences. Everybody's mental well-being states are different. And I think it's just creating open conversation to understand each other in parenting and really everything.
Yeah, right.
It's so smart. Thank you both so much. Really good conversation.
Thank you. We'll be right back.